This week on Another Movie Podcast, Disney drops a huge bombshell on the Star Wars universe.
Suicide Squad 2 may have found its villain.
And could we possibly get our X-Men into the MCU? We'll tell you soon. Hello and welcome back to Another Movie Podcast. I am Sean Pierce.
And I am Sean Kelly.
And how has your week been? Or 2 weeks been since we last chatted?
2 weeks haven't been too bad. Very busy with work. We're getting near the sort of toward the end of the school year, so chasing up students for assignments and reports and things like that. But I have found a great YouTube channel which has been sort of pulling me through it a little bit.
Oh, good. Now, are they paying us to mention?
They're not paying us. They're not paying us. But I highly recommend you check them out because it's this girl, Lindsay Ellis, and she does kind of, I don't know, video essays on a range of different topics, mostly movie related. So she did like this. She did this one called the first one I watched was The Case for the Hunchback of Notre Dame. It was all about the Disney Hunchback of Notre Dame movie and about how the pros and cons and how it fits into some historical accuracy and some. It's actually she goes into a lot of depth and she's got a whole slew. Like she's got a whole thing looking at how the character of Mystique has developed throughout the comics and films and stuff like that. But really kind of academic stuff. So her name's Lindsay Ellis. If you get a chance, I recommend you check her out. She's it's a lot of fun.
I really hate those real smart people.
I know. I watch it and I'm like. At first, I'm like, we should do an episode like this on the Sean Show. And then I watched it and I'm like, we could never do something like this on the Sean Show.
We just like dick and fart jokes.
Exactly right. But at least there is somebody out there doing it. So check it out if you get a chance. How about you? Anything exciting happened this past 2 weeks?
No, but I have been watching another YouTube channel. It's called Screen Prism. And basically they discuss movies that have vast endings, and they go into detail and explain some of those. The last one that I watched was The Shining, and I mentioned on the last show to go back and watch it. And then I watched this doco called Room 237, and it details, people's thoughts on this movie. And some of the shit they're talking about, like, I don't know if I've just gotten dumber as I'm getting older, but I did not see any of this stuff. So, maybe I always laughed at those people who just usually sit there and look at the bright, pretty lights on the screen. Maybe I'm coming one of those. I don't know.
Maybe we always were, and we just never realized it. Delusions of grandeur.
Maybe we thought we were smarter than we actually were.
Oh, yeah, welcome to my life. Yeah.
And then when you go back and you think about our proposed trolley movie, it's kind of all making sense.
Well, this is the thing, right? Like, that proposed trolley movie would have made billions because it's in the vein of the general population.
Yeah, we're attracting that mass audience that we're looking for, not the snooty people.
Exactly right. This going back to this Lindsay Ellis girl, she's got a whole series about the Transformers movies, which seems bizarre, but it's really good. And she talks about how Michael Bay hates his protagonists. Filmmaking, yes, but how he hates the main characters in his movies, and about how he sees them as a reflection of the dumb mass audience that he produces for. And it's like, oh my god, it's true. He does hate Sheila both.
I like it.
You got to check it out. It's great. Anyway.
All right, that's cool. I will check it out. All right, well, let's kick into the movie news, shall we?
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story.
All right, over at Disney this week,
huge week for Disney.
Some massive news. I think they had a meeting with all their shareholders, and this is where they go and start introducing all the new shit that they want to do.
Yeah.
To make more money, basically, and to fill the shareholders' pockets.
Yeah, imagine being a fly on the wall in that meeting. It's like, how many billions shall we make this year, gentlemen?
Well, I'm guessing there's a shitload of shareholders, so I don't think anything coming out of there is not going to make it on the internet. So, but these were the big ones to come out of it. All right, so we know already that we're getting 3 new films. We're into the second one in the next couple of weeks, The Last Jedi, and then we've got the episode 9 in 2 more years. But after that, Disney have basically given the keys to Rian Johnson, who directed The Last Jedi, to create his own new Star Wars fucking trilogy.
Which is amazing.
It is amazing. So it's rumored that he will write and direct at least the first one, and that he will produce the next 2 after that. So this new trilogy is going to be completely separate to the Skywalker saga that we've seen now over 8 films, and it's going to be a whole new story in another corner of the Star Wars galaxy.
Which, that's kind of cool. I really like that as an idea. And obviously, what excites me about this is it shows that they have a lot of faith in this next film.
Yeah, and the director as well, obviously. So, I'm really excited for The Last Jedi, and I really loved Looper, which was Rian Johnson's film before he did this one. So, to give him the keys is pretty damn cool. I'm glad they gave it to him rather than JJ, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I think JJ is really cool, but we've kind of seen his version, and I like to see what somebody else is doing. Also, Rian Johnson is 43, which means that we've still got time. By the time we get to 43, we could have a Star Wars trilogy under our belt. It's not, without possibility.
Yeah, like the chances are very, very slim. I think, but it is still a possibility.
It's probably more likely that like so many people in the British royal family would die that one of us is like the extended relative and will become the king of Britain than us doing the Star Wars trilogy. But the chance is there.
It's always a chance. Like that line in Dumb and Dumber where she says, you've got like 1 in a million chance. And he goes, so you're saying there's a chance?
Samsonite. I was way off.
Samsonite. I think I've said on this show before, I hated that film the first time I watched it, but the older I got, the much more appreciation
you are getting dumber.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's happening.
So I think I maybe was a bit of a movie snob back then, and maybe I'm relaxed a lot more now. I don't know.
What does it say about me? Because I liked the movie when I first saw it.
Yeah, but I think it came out in 1994, so how old were you? 3?
Yeah, I would have been grade 4. 3. Yeah, so it's pretty much right up my alley.
Yeah, that's right. And also the other big news that Disney had this week is that they're going to produce a live-action Star Wars series that will probably launch at the end of 2019 on their very own streaming service.
Yeah, we've poo-pooed the streaming service on this show before, but look, if that's what encourages them to do this kind of original content, then I'm not as against it as I was before.
Yeah. And not only are they going to do a Star Wars universe TV show, but they're also going to adapt TV versions of Monsters, Inc. and High School Musical, which I know you'll be quite excited about.
Monsters, Inc. I can kind of understand. There's an ongoing story there. But I guess High School Musical, they could just do kind of a teen drama set in a high school.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure. I've never watched them, so I don't know how that would work. But,
You've never seen Monsters, Inc.?
No, I'm talking about High School Musical.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I know my cousin was obsessed with it when it came out when she was younger, so she might be excited for this news.
Yeah.
But the other part of this is that they're going to make another original Marvel series that's going to feature on this channel too.
Ooh, hopefully it's good this time.
But that brings up questions as well, like what's going to happen to the Netflix universe that they've been building? Because obviously Disney want to keep everything in-house now. Are they going to bring that over to Disney, or is Netflix going to keep it? We don't know.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Hope they'll probably just buy them out or buy that series out or something and chuck it onto the Disney one, which is a shame.
That's what they seem to be doing with everything, to be honest. Because the other big news from Disney again is that they're holding talks to buy out 20th Century Fox,
which would be insane.
It would be insane because this could finally be what everyone has been dreaming of, is that 20th Century Fox own the rights to the X-Men, Deadpool, and basically everything that's not involved in the MCU at the moment, 20th Century Fox has, except for Hulk. He's at Universal Studios. So the idea of bringing all of that to Disney and actually having the Fantastic Four possibly be in the MCU and get it done properly would be amazing.
It would be amazing because it's as we get to the end of this, this first Avengers arc, that would be the perfect time for the Fantastic Four to get inserted into the universe.
Yeah. If you had to start rebooting, obviously, both of them, this would be the best time to do it once they hopefully buy the rights to these.
Yeah, exactly. And then we might actually see a good Doctor Doom on film.
Yeah, you've had a hard on this for a long time. And it's good. It's weird timing, actually, because remember a couple of weeks ago we spoke about how Fox wanted to develop its own Doctor Doom movie. So, the timing could be everything. Who knows?
Look, we'll see if it happens. I would be very... A part of me thinks it's such a big deal. I mean, Fox is not a small company, and So I don't know whether it'll go ahead or not, but it's exciting to think about.
But the only thing is as well is that Fox also owns like the Avatars, the Aliens. So all of this could come over to the Disney World as well. So
Whoa, I never
what
even
that
said
leaves up
that.
for Avatar, considering they're filming 4 films at the moment, I don't know if anything of that changes if Disney were to buy the rights. But if Avatar is as big as hit as, or the sequels are as big as hit the first one, and Disney owns it, it could be insane money again. But they're just going to own the whole world.
Avengers 5. Bucky is Captain America now, and he's leading his newly formed team through the streets of New York City, and they stumble upon an alien queen, and they get attacked
Ooh.
by xenomorphs, and it looks like they're done for, and then a predator comes out of nowhere. This is gonna be good.
Yeah, this is complete open world.
Yeah, I love it.
Forget all those open world games that you've got. We can have this on the screen.
I'm a fan. And I don't have to do anything. That's the best thing about it. It just
Yeah,
other people
exactly.
do
We
it
just
for
sit
me.
there and enjoy.
Yeah.
Well, there's another weird TV series that Amazon is planning on taking on, and I don't know how well it's going to work, to be honest. And that is they want to redo Lord of the Rings as a TV show.
Yes, I kind of wish they would leave the films alone and do a different series. Like I like the idea of a series in Middle Earth, but like maybe an original one. Is that blasphemous to say?
I don't know. I don't know. As I said, people have got such a spot for these films in their hearts that they probably don't want to see another story told in Middle Earth.
That's
So
true. But do they want to see the same story told?
look, I guess there was a lot of shit left out of the books,
Yeah.
from the books in the films.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of worlds that they could still go to that we haven't seen before on a TV show.
I
But
I do needs my Tom Bombadil arc. That once we get that in, I'll be happy.
so there is a massive world and a massive story and something that could carry on over 5 or 6 seasons just from the 3 books alone. So
That's true.
it is an idea worth exploring, but you can kind of see where Disney and, say, Amazon are heading now. Everyone wants their Game of Thrones TV show on their network.
Yeah.
So, those worlds do open itself up to a Game of Thrones-esque type show. Whether they can pull it off or not, who knows?
Yeah, but I don't know because Game of Thrones, it's the politics that makes that show good. And for all of the great things about Lord of the Rings, it's not really a politicky kind of
Yeah,
thing. It's more of like a high fantasy exploration. Although
I get that.
they could do the Silmarillion and just make everyone really confused.
But I think the action in Game of Thrones is as good as anything on the small screen and the big screen. So,
Oh yeah, oh
you know,
absolutely, yeah.
that's another big draw as well. So, as I said, we'll have to wait and see on these ones. I don't know how well it's going to go, considering how well the films went. It's not like the films were shit and they want to try and redo them.
Yep. Unless
But
it's The Hobbit.
correct. Well, yeah. Hopefully they can redo those ones.
Maybe that's where they'll start. That'd be good. It'd
Yeah,
be nice.
possibly.
It'll be nice to have actually a Game of Thrones for kids, like do The Hobbit, but for a younger audience in a series that just keeps all the good stuff and not all the stupid barrel races or whatever it was going on there.
Yeah, yeah.
That could be cool.
True. All right. Well, we are technically, what are we? 6 days away from Justice League. And
Yeah.
I'm telling you now, I'm really getting quite excited. I've already organised Thursday afternoon after work. Bang, I'm going to watch it. I am ready to rock and roll.
Nice.
But again, as usual, before the hype starts, someone has to have a little kick in the guts before the Justice League. And this time, it was the Wall Street Journal of all things. So they released this article this week saying that the Justice League will clock in at 119 minutes, which is half an hour shorter than actually what Batman v Superman was.
Thank God.
Now, this was actually mandated by the Warner Brothers CEO Kevin Tushara, who made it quite clear that the film had to come in at under 2 hours. Now, that's quite weird, because if you're going to let the story develop and you got to make sure it's mandated that you got to have it under 2 hours, does that seem a bit weird to you?
Look, it does, but maybe they're trying to get as many sessions a day as they can.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was thinking too. Because the longer the film, the shorter how many sessions you have during that day.
Yeah, so they might have worked it out mathematically. It's like, well, if we do that, we're going to have, 6 sessions a day, and they'll mostly be full.
Look, that means hopefully we're going to get a much tighter film. But, hopefully they've got enough space to tell the story that they want to do in 2 hours.
There are a lot of characters being introduced.
Absolutely. So, a little bit of warning signs, but the rest of the article, does give a lot of faith into what they were doing. And Zack Snyder, he brought his cut earlier this year, and the studio felt that it hadn't really progressed in the lighter themes that they really wanted to make the film work, and that's when they brought Josh Whedon in to do the reshoots and hopefully, oversaw significant reshoots after Zack Snyder's departure.
You know what I think they're doing? They're just playing the long game. They release this version, then they release the Zack Snyder director's cut, and then they release the Joss Whedon director's cut.
Yeah.
Like, this is just, they're playing the long game, long marketing game.
But the good news is that after all, they've melted the two versions together and got it to exactly what they wanted to. They have done test screenings, and apparently the screenings have tested as good as what Wonder Woman did.
All right, I don't know about these test screenings.
Look, that's all we can go on at the moment.
That's
we haven't
true.
got any Twitter reactions yet. We haven't got any reviews yet, but I'm cool keeping hope in this.
Yeah. Look, I'm with you. I'm more tentatively with you, and I do hope it's good.
The scary part of this is, though, the budget is blown out to like $300 million. So you're looking at least 600 just to break even.
Yeah.
So, is this film going to hit the billion-dollar heights that it's hoping it will? I don't know.
It'll make 300 million, but yeah, as you say,
It's going to make 600 to break even.
Exactly right. So everyone will come to see it once, and will they come to see it a second time? That's going to be the kicker.
Yeah. Look, Suicide Squad did have a good run. Batman v Superman had a massive opening week, then had like the biggest drop in the second week. And then Wonder Woman was just consistent every week. It would only drop by 50%. So, fingers crossed for Warner Brothers, because at the moment, I don't know if they've got a plan going forward. Obviously, we know we've got Aquaman in the can. I think they've just finished production on that one. And then they haven't got anything really lined up after that. So I think they're kind of hedging their bets in this one and seeing what's going on.
Look, I'm hopeful. We'll see.
All right. Well, one of the good pieces of news that come out this week, and I really hope it's true, is that for ages now, The Rock has been saying that he's going to be playing the villain, the Black Adam. I think this has been going on for nearly 10 years, and he actually hasn't even appeared yet. But it could be, his character could be revealed in the new Suicide Squad 2 movie.
Which is awesome, for one, because Black Adam is a freaking cool character. But on the other hand, it seems like it's another situation of the Suicide Squad can't really do anything to Shazam, to Black Adam.
Well, this is the thing. They said already that he's not going to appear in Shazam. So we know that straight away.
Yeah.
But if we can at least set him up in the Suicide Squad 2 movie, then you've got your Shazam movie, and then once the Shazam either sequel or maybe Black Adam has his own film after that, at least we've kind of got a taste for it.
Oh, look, and I completely agree, and I love the idea of seeing him early and sort of in a property that's a little bit off to the side. I think that's cool. But it'd be like telling the Suicide Squad, all right, you guys go and capture Superman. It's like, well, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So look, we'll wait and see. I'd be super excited. I think, and I'd love to see The Rock do it, but we'll wait and see.
Well, I say this in inverted commas, but according to insiders, the current plan of the sequel is for the members of the Suicide Squad to be tasked with trapping down a weapon of mass destruction, and that weapon is Black Adam.
Yeah, that's also interesting as well. Does that mean he's being used by other people? Because he's usually been kind of
doing his own
thing. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I know. I'm excited.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
I really like it, and it could be really exciting, and then it could have that film open up, another section of the DCEU universe.
Exactly right. And then we see, Black Adam take on Shazam and Superman in a future film. I'd pay to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, there's been a massive topic going on in Hollywood, and it wasn't one that I thought we should bring up into the show, but it does have huge ramifications for certain films that were coming out in the next couple of weeks. And that is, obviously, we've got the big sexual misconduct / harassment case with Harvey Weinstein, Kevin Spacey, and a lot of other directors and actors. But it's having huge ramifications now on terms of TV shows, movies. I just wanted to talk about a few of those. And that's Netflix's biggest show, and it's basically what put them on the map, was House of Cards. And obviously Kevin Spacey is the main character in that, and is also an executive producer as well. So they've actually cut ties with him completely. which is quite massive considering the whole show revolves around him. So, the new season that they're doing has been put on hiatus,
Yeah.
and I think it's going to have to obviously be reworked. And I think it might focus more on his wife's character, which I believe has become president at the end of the last season.
Which, Robin Wright, I think it was, who's awesome. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is a good thing, and it's good because obviously it's been a well-known secret for a long time, but studios and production companies have just gone ahead and put these guys in these films and TV shows anyway. So it's good and bad that they've ignored it on one hand, but now that it's out, they're actually severing ties with these guys and removing them completely.
Yeah, exactly, and that needs to happen. So
yeah, absolutely. And there's one film that Kevin Spacey had wrapped, and it was due to be released in a couple weeks, and it's called All the Money in the World, which is directed by Ridley Scott. Now, they've come out this week and said that they're going to completely reshoot all of his scenes and replace him with Christopher Plummer. Apparently, he only had 8 to 10 days of working on this film, but just think about you've got a finished film ready to be released in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
they've got the idea. They've either have to pull the film completely, or what they're going to do now is completely cut him out of the film and reshoot all of his scenes. That's insane.
Which is incredible. And I think there's going to be a bit of Princess Leia style CG face over face. I think that's the impression that I got, as well as doing some reshoots. I'm kind of curious about how, because he plays J. Paul Getty in this film, and it's about his son being kidnapped.
Correct, or his grandson, I think.
His grandson. So it's going to be really interesting how he only shoots for 8 to 10, because he seems like a pretty major character in that. But I'm curious. I really like Christopher Plummer. So that's a positive.
Well, the thing is that even though he has a massive presence in the film, he's not necessarily in the film a lot. So he's like an overhanging character over the film, but he's not necessarily seen a lot. So I think that's how they're going to do it.
I have to say though, if I had to recast Kevin Spacey, it's not like Christopher Plummer would have been the first mind that came into my head. It's like, who's kind of like Kevin Spacey?
Yeah, but I don't know if you've seen the trailer though. It doesn't look like Kevin Spacey at all. It's Kevin Spacey under a lot of heavy makeup to make him look like an old man. So
okay, that's cool. Well, good job then.
Yep.
And Christopher Plummer is a great actor, so I'm glad he's getting work.
Yeah. The film looks really good itself, so I'm glad that they didn't shelve it. I'm glad that we will get to see, a version of this film.
Ridley Scott needs a win.
Yeah. And another big one that dropped this week is that Louis C.K., who's basically one of the biggest comedians in the world. He's got his toes in a lot of TV shows and a lot of movies, and he was about to have his premiere of his new film, which he written and directed in New York, and the story came out that New York Times was going to break a story on him about sexual misconduct on 5 women, and they completely dropped the screening of this film. Well, it comes out now that not only have they dropped the screening, they're not going to release the film at all, and HBO and FX have actually dropped all his TV shows from their networks and streaming services.
It is, and he's come out this morning and admitted to everything.
Yeah, which was quite surprising.
Yeah, which is the very least that anyone in this situation can do. So it's definitely the right move by these companies, I think. You've got to have a kind of zero tolerance. If you're going to change a culture, as much as beloved as Louis C.K. was to many people, you have to do this in order to change a culture.
Look, I wasn't necessarily a big fan of his comedy.
No,
that wasn't my thing. I tried to get into his show, but just couldn't get into it. But he is as big as it gets in terms of comedy.
Yeah.
And they're knocking out all these big scalps at the moment. So it's good that Hollywood have taken a stance and we're seeing a real turn in what's happening.
And he made the point in his admission that he used his notoriety as a way to coerce, so he's kind of justified it to himself, and I think that's the kind of predatory behavior I think that hopefully will come to light more and more often, and that's how the culture will change.
Yeah. So
it's tough stuff.
As I said, hopefully there isn't many more to come. Hopefully we can start weeding out all these assholes and get back to normal. I mean, we've seen such a change in Hollywood already with obviously with the whitewashing saga a couple of years ago. Now we're getting all these women stepping up into massive roles and leading their own films, i.e. Wonder Woman, and now we can get rid of all these ones as well. There's going to be a massive change in the next couple of years.
Yeah, hopefully the Hollywood that our kids grow up with will hopefully be a lot better than the Hollywood that we grew up with.
Yes. All right. Well, in change of pace, again, I don't know why I love these stories so much, but I do, is when films make it lose a lot of money.
Schadenfreude, that's why.
Yeah, that's right. Well, this week we're going to talk about Blade Runner 2049, and it looks like that they're set to lose about $80 million on this film.
Which is not a small chunk of change.
Yeah. And it's funny, like, even though it had a production budget of 155, when you include the marketing, it was over like $400 million to break even, which is insane. Like, I know you got to get your film out there, yeah, but when the marketing costs more than the film itself, like, surely there's an issue there.
The marketers, the advertisers in Hollywood are making a big bank for really these days something you could just get a viral video out there, it cost you $20, and get it done. Like,
that's what I don't understand. Like, I don't know why they need all these big billboards everywhere, and they obviously need all the television spots, but as I said, if people know the movie and they're going to go and see it regardless, you've got the internet. Use the internet. Surely Facebook ads don't cost as much as TV ads.
Particularly for a film like this, which had so much history and weight behind it. So, yeah. I don't know.
Well, they're saying that this could impact Denis Villeneuve's next film, Dune. So, whether they're going to give him such a big budget and a big sci-fi again, and it's one that, probably won't appeal to the mass audiences again, like Blade Runner didn't. It's a bit of a risk at the moment.
And I agree. Like, I think give him the picture, but I think the budget is the thing. How much money do you want this guy playing with?
Yes, I agree.
For a niche property, which I would love to see a huge, big Dune epic, but it's probably not going to make a lot of money for the studio.
All right, well, there's one film, again, that they're going to look like it's going to be turned into a TV series, and this film was probably at the peak of when you and I were working together at Hoyt's. And it was a film that came out and just blew all expectations, and this was one of the first films that really used the internet to promote itself because they had no money at all. And that was the Blair Witch Project. So basically what they did was they made this film. Again, no one ever made a found footage film before, and they set up this website, and everyone believed that this film was real. And it was a complete game changer, made a shitload of money, and this was when I was heading into film school, and all the film nerds were just raving about it, and everyone wanted to make a film like this, and everyone wanted to be these guys.
Yeah.
Well, these guys basically did fuck all for the next 20 years, I reckon. That's how long it's been since this film's been out.
They've just been living off that hard cash.
Yeah, well, hopefully, they were able to keep some of it, because as I said, they haven't worked since. And at the moment, it looks like they're going to turn this TV show this movie into a TV show, but they want to have a different director direct different episodes and kind of be like an anthology where not every season's going to be the same, kind of like what they're doing at American Horror Story, but they might tell, a whole different story about the Blair Witch, maybe where she came from, maybe a new people go into the woods, maybe a story about these stick figures that they put around everywhere. So it could be pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't mind the idea. I would actually like them to expand beyond the Blair Witch and look at like lots of different urban legends, perhaps. Maybe a different one for each season, exploring it from different perspectives and different time periods. I really like the idea of different directors coming in and telling a story. I think it's a cool idea.
Yeah, so do I. And, I think, to me, this sounds like that they're going to do something a lot different to the Blair Witch project, but they're just going to throw the Blair Witch name on it, so then people already know about the Blair Witch are going to go, oh yeah, maybe I might check this one out.
Yeah, and I agree. Although I think the Blair Witch has some negative connotations with it as well, because it was so huge a hit, it gets that backlash.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, give it a crack. I'll have a watch, particularly if
I will definitely have a watch too.
If it's on a series I already stream.
All right, well, that wraps up the movie news for the week. Now, you told me earlier that you went and saw one of the releases of this week.
I did. I went and saw Murder on the Orient Express, Kenneth Branagh's big, I wouldn't necessarily call it an epic, but his big love letter, I guess, to Poirot and Agatha Christie.
All right, now keep this spoiler free because I do intend on watching it.
Cool.
What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. It's copping a bit of flack for being. I don't know what people were expecting. I think maybe the Believer trailer got people hyped up in the wrong way. I don't think that was the right marketing choice.
Yeah.
But the film itself, it's a Kenneth Branagh film. It's well made. It's beautiful to look at. He does a great job as Perot, I thought. His moustache is amazing. In fact, all the performances, I have to say, are really quite good. It does move a bit quickly because there are a lot of characters to sort of get through. So there are some characters who you don't see very much or who are a little bit underdeveloped. But I never felt like the film was dragging, which I think is probably more important.
Now, what about Johnny Depp? Because he's had a few stinkers of late. Please tell me that he's kind of redeemed himself.
I think could say he's kind of redeemed himself. It's still you can't help but see Johnny Depp because he's got such a distinctive face.
Yeah.
But I think this is his most acting that he's done in a while.
Well, that's good.
Like he was really trying to put something out there that was a little bit not him. But I thought there were some other standout actors. I thought Michelle Pfeiffer did a really brilliant job. Not Rian Johnson. That's the thing. Daisy Ridley was awesome. I think she was a standout. In fact, it took me a little while to realize that she was in it. Because I'm like, who's that girl? Is that Keira Knightley? No, what? And then it took me a while. I'm like, oh, yeah. And they even showed a Star Wars trailer before the film. Still didn't get it. So, yeah, I highly recommend checking it out, particularly if you don't know the story. It was funny because I remembered the original film, or the film they made previously, and my wife hadn't. So it was interesting, me watching it, knowing what was going to happen, and her not, because they do stick quite close to the original source material. And I think it's better for it.
Well, that's interesting because, your review, you're not exactly beaming about it, but you're just saying it's good.
It's a good movie. If you're at the cinema and you're not sure what to watch, go and see it. I think you'll enjoy it. And like I said, it's just lovely to look at. It's just a really nice looking film.
Yeah, because at the moment it's sitting at 61% on Rotten Tomatoes,
Yeah.
which is still fresh. But as I said, I think everyone's got the same reaction as you. It was good, but not that good.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I'd probably give it more than 61%, but particularly some of the sequences in it are really engaging, either because they're just really lovely to look at or disturbing. So I think for those sequences alone, it's worthwhile.
All right, well, that's good. All right, well, there was one film that I watched this week, and it was after watching Thor Ragnarok that I had to go back and watch Taika Waititi's original film called Boy.
Oh yeah, good one.
Yeah, no, this film is fantastic. It's got everything that we love about him. It's got this beautiful, humorous story, but it's also this story about a boy and his dad who is going off to prison, and because he hasn't seen him for a long time, he just builds his dad up to be something that obviously he isn't, and it's so heartfelt, but it's also so funny as well, which is something that he's really doing. Even in his first film, and we're still seeing it carrying over into his fourth film now, and it's got the same issues. I don't think it's an issue, but you will see it as an issue, where you've got these beautiful, heartfelt moments, but then he has to throw a joke in there.
Yeah.
And for me, I love it, but it happens in the final scene of the film, and I'm like, oh, fuck, Sean will hate this when he sees it.
I don't mind some of it, but when it's every time, it gets a bit much.
No, the scene that I'm talking about, it works so well, and I thought the film finished on really such a good note. So if you haven't seen it, go and watch all of his films. So he's got a film called Boy, What We Do in the Shadows, Hunt for the Wilder People, and obviously now Thor Ragnarok. So jump on board this guy's bandwagon because he's going to be big and massive in the next 10 years, I reckon. We're going to see a lot of his films pump out. Now, hopefully, he doesn't change the way that he directs, which I don't think he will, because he comes across as kind of just doing his own thing.
Yeah, very much.
Project for the sake of selling out and making cash. So go watch Boy, Hunt for the Wilder People, What We Do in the Shadows, and of course Thor Ragnarok.
Cool.
All right, well, that wraps up the show for this week. I am Sean Pierce.
And I am Sean Kelly.
And let your week be a good week until next week.